I guess at this point I should probably transition to asking you about the Raptors, who are a legit NBA team, and in many ways are a more legitimate NBA team due to the introduction of Casey. How would you characterize his impact on the team, especially on the defensive end, so far this year?
Well, I first started covering the team in 2002. Like my second game was the game where Chris Childs lost track of the score at the end of the game, and they're in Detroit in Game 5, and they lost that series. And ever since that moment, the Raptors were a lousy defensive team. Like they've been at times almost historically bad. And under the Colangelo regime, they've been bad, reliably bad. And not a lot of the players changed, but what Dwayne Casey's seen, it's almost foreign to me. Like to see our Toronto Raptors team that defends. And that being said, I mean, scoring's down this year. I think last year there was something like 16 teams were allowing 100 points a game, and this year it's like 4 or 5. But he's made a culture change that is almost dangerous because they're too good. They're doing this without Andrea Bargnani. They have nobody who can create his own shot unless DeMar DeRozan's having one of those good games, which is 50-50 at best. So he's actually he's done what he's been hired to do, which is create a culture which is totally different from what was there before. But I think in the long run, it could actually hurt them because he's done too good a job. I think it's been astounding, frankly, because this team should not be this good. I mean, it's hard to be really bad this year because Charlotte's setting a hell of a bar. But the Toronto Raptors are a respectable NBA team. And if you look at that roster, especially without Bargnani, there's no reason they should be.
I've always wondered about Raptors fans because they're famed for being vociferous, especially on the internet. And they kind of play in a world that us in the States, we're kind of not a part of. It's the team I hear about least. It's the team that I see least. Do people over there in Toronto have a complex about that at all? Are they aware of how undercover that team is in the States?
I don't think they're aware of it because we don't get ESPN up here, right? That's one of the big complaints that NBA players have is that you can do it. It's just harder to do. There's like a gray area. But I think there is a certain outpost status, but I think a lot of it's the team. Like the team's never been very good. It's won one playoff series in 15 years. Like think about that. And it was a 5-game playoff series. They've never won a 7-game playoff series.
You're not gonna impress me, Bruce. I'm in the Bay Area. You're not gonna impress me with that stat.
Yeah, but Golden State's had memorable moments at least, right? Like
I think one.
They toppled the #1 seed. Like they won a hell of a series against a really good team. This Raptors team.
We will battle to the death in this pecking order of misery right now. I'll tell you.
But the Raptors are a fundamentally irrelevant team, competitively speaking. They have been since Vince left. Even when Chris Bosh was at his best, they were never very good. They had the one season where they won the Atlantic Division with 47 wins, which isn't a lot. And other than that, they're just not very good. So there's no reason that, especially now, they're not a very interesting team in terms of there's no blow-ups. There's no Sam Mitchell screaming at the cameras. They're just a kind of quiet professional organization. There's no reason for them to be covered in the States. There's a lot more interesting stories in basketball. As for the fans, actually, Toronto Raptors fans are pretty good. They get dwarfed in this town by the Maple Leafs, just like everything else does. But even when they were bad, they were still getting 17 or 18,000 a game. That's starting to drop because they've been lousy for several years. But I think there's a strong constituency here of young, like demographically, they look really good. It's like the young kind of multiracial Toronto. They're aching for this team to be good. But that doesn't translate outside Toronto. Like I'm a national columnist now, so I used to write about the Raptors all the time. I find it harder to write about the Raptors now because the rest of the country doesn't care. Vancouver, the well was poisoned by the Grizzlies. And outside of that, there's never been an outreach. There's not players from there generally. It's a big country, and there's not a lot of basketball. Hockey dominates to an extreme degree. So it really is like Toronto's its own thing. And it doesn't really go beyond that. And I certainly wouldn't expect it to go down into the United States.
Where is that goodness going to come from? Where is that next step? Is it going to be? Is Ed Davis a hidden gem? Because I don't get to see a whole lot of him playing. Aside from the league pass, I'm a little concerned because I have checked his Twitter and he's talking to a lot of ladies of the Twitter night. I don't know if you can comment on that either way. Where do you see that next step coming from?
I'm really not sure. I liked him as a rookie because I thought he had a nose for the ball. He had certain skills you can't teach. Like he had good hands, and he was one of those guys who you figured, okay, there's growth potential there. And I haven't seen it this year. I haven't seen him grow at all. Similarly, actually, if you look at DeMar DeRozan, it's another guy who hasn't grown in a really remarkable way. He's gotten more time, but his game hasn't gotten that much better. But Ed Davis, like I look at Ed Davis and I look at Amir Johnson and I go, well, who's better? Who do you want? Because you only really need one of them. You got Valanciunas is going to come over next year, and that means you got Valanciunas and Bargnani, and you need one or two more big men. But can you stash two young developing big men behind those guys? I'm not sure. Ed Davis has been a little bit of a disappointment to me because I still don't know what's there. I haven't seen anything that shows me a leap. And usually with players in their first to second year, if they're going somewhere, not always, but often you'll see something. You'll see an extra dimension of the game. You'll see them earn more playing time. He hasn't done that. That being said, they haven't needed him because amazingly, this team's managed to stitch something together. And I'm still not entirely clear how Dwayne Casey did it in such a short amount of time in a compressed season. I think there's a small part of it is this season, if you work hard, in any season, if you work hard and have a good coach, you can win like 30, 35, 40 games. I feel like this team is a little like that, in that they don't have a lot of talent, but they got a good coach and they're playing hard. And a team that plays hard this season because of the compressed schedule and because of veteran teams taking it easy can win more games than they probably deserve.